Hello and welcome back to another Knights of Lorcana League match. Today we've got myself versus Roach. Roach was getting in a last-minute practice game before the DLC Richmond. Today he'll be using Ruby Amethyst versus my Amethyst Steel. I think this can be a pretty dynamic matchup, often decided by the die roll. I did win the die roll this time. Leading off with a Captain Hook. Pretty safe turn one. I know what he's playing, but usually I like to lead off with a hook anyway. And then we've got a Tinkerbell on the side of Roach. Pretty interesting one drop here in set 10 with a 3-1 stat line, so we're able to take some very nice trades early. Does threaten things like this Calhoun on turn 2. Just go ahead and decide to quest with the Captain Hook here. I think he might not challenge into it with the Tinkerbell yet. And then we get the Lumiere, big staple in these Ruby decks. His rules text says your other characters get +1 strength, so very nice, just passive effect that lets all of his characters trade up a little better. Do respond with a Tinkerbell on turn 3. And then I go ahead and quest with the hook again. I feel like I need to try and race this deck just a little bit, as red often has some strong 2 questers, such as this Peter Pan, basically the Ruby mirror of this Tinkerbell, another 1/3 evasive that quests for 2. So we're moving along pretty quickly here. Hitting that crucial 4 ink on this turn 4. Could be looking for something like a Genie or an Iago. And then we also do have the Tinkerbell available to sing Strength of a Raging Fire. I think with that, it probably hit the Peter Pan, as I don't have any evasives on board to deal with it right now. But I think the Lumiere is also a fair target. Yeah, we do ink a hook, and we get the Genie come down. Staple card here in Amethyst, probably one of the strongest cards in the game right now, in my opinion, just for the stats and its cost. Roach and I are just chit-chatting a little bit here, telling a story. Just a nice friendly match, nothing too serious. But yeah, my biggest threats, I think, in this Ruby matchup are things like the Headless Horseman, which is a really clean answer to Genie, being able to banish a character on play with 2 strength or less. The Horseman's also able to banish something like an Elsa. And then we do have opposing Cheshire Cats. Things like the library, which can make challenging more difficult, and then even more Lumieres that could be played down to make the challenges even stronger on the side of Roach. So I do go ahead and quest for 3 here, moving up to 5, and pass it along. Do get an Elsa in the Inkwell for Roach. And we do get that second Lumiere come down, so Peter Pan now hitting for 3 strength, which is able to take out the Tinkerbell. And then we have a Lumiere go ahead and trade into my Calhoun. So here on turn 5, I'll most likely be looking for something like a Hades or an Elsa. We do get the Elsa come down. We have Elsa challenge into the newly exerted Lumiere. And we went ahead and took that trade with Elsa first because the Lumiere does not affect itself for the strength boost. So it allowed Calhoun to take out the opposing Lumiere without having to banish herself, which was very nice for me that I drew that Elsa. We do see Roach play a genie of his own. Then yeah, I'm able to clean up the opposing Peter Pan that had a single damage on it with my genie. So no questing for me that turn, but able to control the board very well. And then we do have the tank trade into the Calhoun. I think that's reasonable. Doesn't want that to stick to the board any longer than it should. And then we've got both of us sitting on 3 cards in hand because of the genies we're placing. And then we go ahead and replace that Calhoun, and then we also play down a Lexington, which is going to lock down his genie. His genie could challenge into my Elsa and survive, but then Lexington is there to finish him off. And I do just have 1 card in hand, so most likely we'll be able to ready that Lexington. We do have that horseman that we mentioned, though, come down and clean up the genie. Very nice card. New to set 10 as well. I think the only thing holding this card back is the cost of 5 and also being uninkable. But even with that high cost, it's still seeing a lot of play in these Ruby decks just for the ability to answer Genie so easily. You're running into so many Amethyst decks that you need Genie answers. We do play a Dumbo on my side and go ahead and use the Dumbo effect with the Elsa to draw one. And then I just go ahead and pass there, trying to keep my things safe. The Calhoun would be able to challenge and banish the Headless Horseman and gain me 2 lore, so I'm keeping her upright for that. And then Lexington is susceptible to getting traded with the Horseman. Oh, very nice. So we get a Cheshire Cat coming down, moving 2 damage from the genie that had just challenged an Elsa, and that 2 damage moved on to my Calhoun. So my board state starting to look a little bit stale here. Definitely have things I can do, but none of them are perfect. Do get an Elsa come down. Now we can go ahead and do something like trade the Lexington. Sorry, not a trade, but just challenge the cat with Lexington. Lexington survives that trade, or that challenge rather, sorry. And then the Elsa can challenge the Horseman, as the Horseman only has 2 willpower. And Elsa survives that as well. And then we can ink for turn and use the Dumbo effect, filling the hand just a little bit more, giving me some more options. So I think overall I'm doing a very good job of controlling the board here. That second genie does give me a little bit of pause, but I think with what I have available, I will be able to handle it. We do get a 2-cost Diablo coming down, though, so that's 6 lore represented on the side of Roach right now, so I'm definitely going to have to answer some of these things he's got. Genie goes ahead and cleans up my Elsa. I think that's a very good play. I can't use Dumbo effect with her if she's gone. So we'll see what I can answer back with to clean up this board. Another Elsa would be nice to exert the ready Genie. Then I could take down the exerted one and the ready one. Any of my songs as well, like a Strength of a Raging Fire to do the 2 remaining damage to the damaged Genie, or maybe a Thunderbolt to hit the healthy genie would be very nice. Could use a Cheshire Cat as well to move some damage. So I've got a lot of options available to me here, and I have been drawing. So we do go ahead and rip the Dumbo, digging for a little bit more. Maybe I don't have exactly what I want in hand. Roach is showing me that was the hand that he had when he only had 4 ink. Yeah, 3 ink, and he really needed to ink that Elsa, which was unfortunate. It would have been a nice play. Ooh, we do hardcast a bolt on the ready genie, and then the Lexington goes ahead and finishes off the exerted one. So I do lose my Lexington here, but overall, I think this is a very strong turn for me. Was able to deal with both genies. We do get a new 5-cost Ursula come down, which Roach immediately boosts. So now she's a 4/5 evasive. That's questing for 3. I think it's a very strong comeback card and definitely a must-answer card. If the opponent's deck does not have something that deals with evasive, she can surely run away with the game. I was actually experimenting with running a couple of her in my purple steel, but ended up moving away from it. Feeling comfortable with the Dumbo effect here, though, as I can just trade um, with the genie to take out the Ursula if he does decide to challenge my Dumbo with the Ursula now that it's got evasive. Ooh, so we get a Iago and a Lumiere come down on the side of Roach. We do have the Ursula finish off the Dumbo, which I expected. I don't think he wants that Dumbo to draw me any more cards, even if the Ursula is now susceptible to challenge from the genie. I am starting to go up a lot in my lore here. I could potentially top deck a Cobra and win the game with 4 on board now. So definitely putting the pressure on Roach to try and control my board. I will have to deal with this Iago at some point though, as it can just cleanly take out my genie without much pause. Do get another Calhoun come down. Will be nice to pressure the Diablo. We do just pay the 3 to cast a strength on Iago, which opens up my genie to trading into the Ursula. And then I do get a nice dock play with no more cards in hand. Got some little fingers messing with my card cover there. And then we do have the Rafiki trade in with the Diablo, which I think is a great use of Rafiki. Definitely uh, something that you want to do with him. Just take out a highly valuable character that's got the 3 willpower. 2 Rafiki is something I've been experimenting with lately in my purple steel. We have a lot of purple steels running something like Palace Guard, but I only own 1, so I haven't ordered any. And I've just been experimenting with the 4 hook 2 Rafiki. That's kind of just having more aggressive challengers early, which is nice. We do get a Demona come down on the side of Roach, which I don't think draws me. I think it draws me 1 card because I just just docked, which is not bad, but not able to take any good challenges with the Demona exertion, as the Lumiere is only doing 1 damage to the Calhoun, and Palace Guard can't do any damage to it because of her resist. I do have a lot of ink, a lot of cards in hand, lots of options. We do exert the Lumiere with an Elsa. And then we go ahead and have a scoop here. I don't think Roach would be able to answer this Elsa cleanly after I quest for 2 with my remaining characters. Also, if he does decide to challenge into my Olaf, I could bounce the dock back for more draw. So yeah, very clean, very standard game 1 for me there. Purple Steel did Purple Steel things. Didn't see my curve out into strength like I usually like, but was still able to play my 1, 2, 3, 4 on the respective turns, and was able to keep control of the board. So yeah, we're gonna move on to a game 2. All right, moving on to game 2. We have just completed mulligans, shuffling up. We've got Roach on the play this time, and he goes ahead and inks a Demona and plays a Palace card. Very strong turn 1 play, can quest aggressively 2 or 3 times and net some nice lore before it's challenged out. And then on my side, we're inking a Tinkerbell, and we're going to play the Hook. Can put on some nice pressure to this Palace card. We'll be able to challenge it out in 2 turns. Oh, unfortunately, Roach misses the 2-drop. So, no 1-drop or 2-drop to play on turn 2, so unfortunately has to just ink and pass there. That's never a good feeling, missing your cards like that. We've got an inked Olaf into a dock with no ability. So looks like I didn't have an ideal 2-drop either. I am running Calhoun, Heron, and Timothy in my 2-drop slot, but I didn't find any of those, so was just had to play the dock there. Still worth it just to curve out, and I also have Olaf's available if to bounce it back. We do have a turn 3 cat come down, which always makes challenging and such a little bit more complicated. And then I have answer with a Tinkerbell. So Tinkerbell's pretty safe here before the Dumbo gets played out on his turn. Right now, Roach is weighing the options of what I might have in hand. I think you always have to respect the 1, 2, 3, 4 strength of a Raging Fire against the Purple Steel. Would put this Dumbo or this cat uh, in danger. I think the best strength target here would most likely be the Dumbo, as I could just deal with the cat with my remaining characters. So we do Inca Cobra. We do get that 1, 2, 3, 4 into the genie. Perfect. And then we have the Tinkerbell sings a strength on the Dumbo, and then Doc and Captain Hook go ahead and finish off the exerted cat. So cleaning up half of my board, but also taking down most of Roach's key cards. We do have that turn 5 Horseman, which is an excellent answer versus the Genie. Never a good feeling to lose your Genie before a conquest. We do get the second Genie come down on my side, though, so one's gone, just replaced with another. We do get a free quest here with the Tinkerbell, so definitely should do that. Yep, she's evasive. And then I think I'm just deciding whether or not I want to ink this turn. I decide against it. I think I like everything I've got in hand. I think right now with my heavy evasives, I'm really fearing an Iago or maybe an Elsa. So we do get a library come down, which is a very nice card for going against these decks that do heavy amounts of banishing, like Purple Steel or Green Blue with Philip combo. It adds a little bit of insurance. Whenever you have a character at that location and it's banished, its controller gets to draw a card. We do come down with the Hades, turn 5, targeting Horseman, which is a pretty difficult decision, I think, for him. It does go ahead and let me draw 2. It's just, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place there. You don't want to give your opponent cards, but you need your characters on board, so definitely need to weigh your options there. Oh, we do get a little bit of a technical difficulty here, losing the game just for a sec. Typical Pixelborn things. Comes back rather quickly, though. So in my head, I'm not really fearing this library here, even though it is gaining him a lore every turn. I'm really just thinking I'm in position to start questing aggressively and maybe using some like removal songs or something on his remaining characters. So we do quest with the Tink. And then we have Genie Bolt the Diablo, which is interesting. I'm wondering why I chose the Diablo over the Horseman. Very possible I have something like an Elsa in hand that can finish off the Horseman next turn. Elsa can't answer the Diablo cleanly. But we will have to see what I do in these following turns. Maybe bolting the Diablo wasn't the best play there. And then we do see a genie come down. So it would have been nice to save the bolt for that genie, but that's the name of the game sometimes. Yeah, opponent going up 1 from the library there. Moved the genie and the horseman into the library, not opting to quest with either. Just has to keep them safe, try and maintain this board presence currently. Okay, so we do have an Elsa come down. We exert the horseman and then take the horseman out with the Elsa. And then we do go ahead and just quest aggressively here, ignoring the library and opting to go for lore instead. So I do quest for 5 going up to 10, putting a lot of pressure on board now. Genie could, on the opposing side, could trade or could challenge out my Elsa, but then it would have to die to my Genie. Lumiere does change things though. Now Genie on his side can challenge into my Tinkerbell easily. And with Genie being on the library, might have the opponent thinking it's okay to go for some board control and then gain a card the turn following. Do you get an Elsa come down? Inking an Ursula. I think at this point he realizes he can't go for the heavy lore plays and needs to go for stuff that's going to control my board. Elsa does go into Tinkerbell, takes her down. And then Genie goes ahead and finishes off the Elsa. So I am losing 2 characters this turn. So pretty nice board control here. And then we do get a quest with the Palace Guard. And he passes there. So lore total is starting to come a little bit closer together. I'm definitely feeling the pressure now that half my board's been cleared, but we'll see what I have to answer with. We do get Genie number 3 come down. We're finding him this time. Inking a hook for turn, and then we do get the Timothy Q Mouse. Very nice, fun card released in set 9. Says while you have a character with evasive in play, this character gets +1 more. So he has a 1/4 that will quest for 2. He usually can get 1 or 2 quests out, as he's kind of difficult for most characters to take out in 1 turn. We do get an interesting card. They never come back. on my Genie and my Hades that are already exerted, so they will not ready at the start of my next turn. We get another Lumiere coming down. So Elsa or Genie able to take out my Genies or take out the Timothy. So we're starting to see a very wide board develop on the side of Roach. We do have the Genies trade, and then he gets to draw. Yeah, at this point, I'm feeling like a weird 50-50 where like some bits I'm feeling very much in control, but at this point I'm feeling like this game could run away from me rather quickly. I think this Elsa represents very good damage into my Genie and my Timothy. We do see that the Palace Guard and one Lumiere go ahead and finish off the Hades though, so Elsa no longer able to take out my Genie or my Timothy just by herself, and that is the only evasive he's got on his side. So I think that does benefit me more than it does him. But I think there was just mostly a library play trying to draw a little bit more. So I will be able to quest up to 17 this turn if I do opt to quest with both of my characters. Get the Calhoun come down. Dock, nice dock play with no cards in hand. Always comes when you need him, it seems like. Got a few more options here now. Do get the cat come down. Only use my last 3 ink for that cat, so not able to do any damage moving right now. Yeah, I think if I quest with both characters here, we do bolt the Elsa. She has damage on her, so she's able to get taken down. Timothy quests for 2, and at this point I am representing game on board, with the opponent having no evasives to deal with the Genie. And then he does top deck another Palace Guard, unfortunately, which is not going to be the answer that he needs for this match. So we do go ahead and take game 2 on the draw. So nice quick match, very clean, very fun. I felt like I found everything that I needed with my docks and my removal like Strength and Thunderbolt. I was able to keep my hand nice and full and was able to just answer every threat that he presented. But well played to Roach. He's always fun to play with, always fun to have chats with him. He's very, very knowledgeable about this game, is constantly testing new decks, trying new things, pushing the meta, and it's always great to get some practice in with him. So yeah, if you want to play games like this, make sure you check in the description for a link to the Knights of Lorcana Discord. We run a free weekly league there. It's open to anybody, any skill level. When I started the league, I was holding up the bottom of the leaderboard for the first 2 seasons, so no shame in trying to learn and trying to improve. We welcome any and everybody who just loves the game of Lorcana. So we will catch you guys for the next one, and hope you have a good day.